Hello, my name is Sophie Woodward. I'm a Professor of Sociology at the University of Manchester and I'm Co-Director of the Morgan Centre. My research is into everyday lives and I'm particularly interested in material culture, so that's the objects we have with us and what they tell us about the society we live in. And I've also done a lot of research into fashion. So today what I'm talking about is why sociologists should be interested in personal life. So typically we think about sociology as the study of social relations or societies, and so it might seem kind of peculiar for us to be interested in personal lives. So first of all, what do we mean by personal life? So this has been studied by a number of sociologists, but Carol Smart's book Personal Life was a really important starting point for this because it introduced the idea that there are limitations in the sociology of the family or the sociology of gender and sexuality, and these tend to miss really important facets of everyday life. So actually she developed a new approach to personal life that opened up new questions that we could ask about things that had been missed. So for example, how are we connected to each other? What role might friendships play in that, for example? Thinking about how the memories or the feelings or imaginations about our families or relations might be important. And this has been developed further through, for example, Vanessa May and Petra Nordqvist's edited book, Sociology of Personal Life. And what they ask here is what is sociological about the personal? So how different spaces or facets of personal life are framed by social context. So for example, how sexuality, which may be seen as very personal, is always framed, for example, by social norms. So what they're looking at here is how things that might seem entirely private are actually always framed and understood in particular social contexts. So I'm going to illustrate this through an example about getting dressed. So the moment of the day where you stand in front of your wardrobe choosing what to wear might seem like the most private and personal thing you do. Possibly you're the only person who ever looks in your wardrobe. But what's going on when we choose our outfits? When we choose what to wear, it's never just about personal preferences. We're also maybe remembering the last time we wore it and what other people thought. We're also imagining others in our lives, whether that's specific others, a partner, a friend, a family member, or general people at a location. We're always thinking about, is this appropriate for my age? Is this appropriate as a woman? Is this appropriate for my social class? Is this appropriate to wear for an interview? So all of these kind of questions, even if we're standing alone in our bedroom, are always about social context, about social norms, about broader social relationships. So even when we're in the most private spaces, not only are these always simultaneously social, but we can learn a lot about public life and about social relations by taking time to pay attention to these private moments. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of a taster of what we can understand when we look at personal life. And I put here a few key references that I'd suggest you have a read if you're interested in developing this further. But I've only given you the example of the wardrobe as a taster, but there are so many other sociologists who think about these things. There's work on food in the home, there's work on what goes in the bin. I've done work on attics, for example, and this is certainly not exhaustive. So I'd encourage you to have a think yourself, what other aspects of personal life could we shed this kind of sociological attention on? And this is the sociology of personal life.